Your first assignment is a relatively easy one, but it's an important one. So for the first assignment, you're to do, you take a Word document and do two things. First, put your name. I cannot stress this enough. Make sure you put your name. It makes grading and everything a whole lot easier. The second thing is you need to write one sentence. And that one sentence is your hypothesis. So a hypothesis is some statement that you're making that you will be testing. It is some health economics issue that you are going to be basing your entire paper around. So there's two broad issues that tend to come up with this assignment. The first is that people tend to look at it as far as a research paper, which means they're going to be looking at something. The goal of this paper is to have you test something. And so in order to test something, you need to have some sort of a theory that you're going to test. So, for example, when you're looking at this, let's say you want to look at the effects of, or what are the effects of Medicaid on states, okay, on the budgets of states. So if you worded this as, and you said, what are the effects of Medicaid on states' budgets? First off, that's a question. It's not a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a statement that you're making that may or may not be correct, but you're still making that statement saying this is that. And so, for example, in this case, you would say states with higher Medicaid costs tend to have a larger budget deficit than states that don't have high Medicaid rates, or something like that. Okay. So there's a couple things with that. Now, the first off is that don't pick something simple. Okay. I don't expect you to get too deep into it, but don't say that people who have insurance go to the doctors more. Okay. Clearly, that's going to be self-explanatory. Okay. So you want to pick something that may not be too apparent. So a couple of tips. First is to make your hypothesis concise and not too broad. So if you're looking at the effects of prescription medication in general, there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be doing. You have to pull a lot of information in there. And if you try to talk about too much, you're not going to talk about anything very well. So instead of that, you might want to talk about prescription medications on a specific group or a specific type of medication. Okay. So there's an example on here that discusses that. The second tip is to make sure whatever topic you choose, you have the data to back it up. Now, you can change your hypothesis at any time, but early on in the process, you want to make sure that you have the data to back it up, because you need that data to test it. And if you have a great idea and you're excited about it, you have ideas about how you're going to look at it, but then find out you don't have the data for it, it could really, really hurt you, because then you're going to have to find another one. So make sure you can find the data ahead of time. So some successful paper hypotheses from previous semesters: mandatory insurance coverage requirements lead to lower healthcare costs, vaccination rates fall with income, smoking bans in restaurants cut down on healthcare spending. Now, in forming your hypothesis, there's a link here. And it's a good link, and it kind of gives you ways to look at it and come up with a good economic question, a hypothesis. And I encourage you to check this out. It might be a good place for you to start. The other place is, as I mentioned, you can find, where's that? Where did I put that? Oh, here it is. So the undergraduate economics review is a good place to look just for previous papers that have been done to kind of give you an idea. So again, for this assignment, all you have to do is type your name, type your hypothesis in a Word document, attach that in the appropriate folder. Okay, and for that, that's a pretty easy one. And again, you can change this at any time, but you want to try to pick one that you're going to be able to do. That way, you don't have to go back and forth through the different assignments.